Yeah, I guess I've always had two passions. So when I was younger, it was always football. So playing football dominated my life, and then I guess kind of injury took hold, and football ended, and I sort of kind of reverted to my second passion, which was music. And I've always been, even since an early age, been quite suspicious of kind of a shiny pop machine. So I never really considered a career in a record label. The idea of promoting artists I just don't fundamentally love or believe in just was never really an option for me. So it was always about trying to find my way into music and how it would make sense for me and using my skills rather than following someone else's, I guess. I think when I started Right Chord Music, so back in 2011, I was approached by my old housemate who's in a band. He moved back to Australia, and he said, "Oh, I've sent you this DVD. I've just started a band. See what you think of it." And I think your natural reaction when a friend sends you a CD or DVD is to go, "Oh God, this is going to be awful." I watched it and I was like, you know what, this is brilliant, this is really, really good. So I was like, well, how can I help? What can I do to help? And that was really kind of a moment. I was like, now I worked out my space in the world of music, I guess, because he was saying, well, I think I need to be on MySpace. I've heard a lot about this MySpace thing, you know, which is back 2006, I guess, 2005. So I thought, well, let me do that bit for you. Let me do the MySpace piece. Let me run your MySpace page. I've always had an interest in tech and social media anyway. So that's how it started. I ran his MySpace page, built out that following, and then it went from MySpace to Facebook and to Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all these kind of other channels as well along the way. And then ended up being the manager of the band, which became Black Chords, which is then led to Right Chord Music starting. So yeah, I think the kind of the birth of social media and recognising that most artists back then and even still now just want to get on with music. Yeah, it's interesting. I think when I started out, I was kind of like, what is band management? You know, I hadn't got any preconceptions. I think you start doing all the things you think you're supposed to be doing. So you start booking gigs. You know, I was managing PR people and radio pluggers and all that kind of stuff. And I think my experience with the second band I managed, the Daydream Club, kind of changed everything, because after working with them for a couple of years, we just looked at their finances and said, this isn't stacking up. You know, we're losing money hand over fist, and we're not getting returns from the investment that we were making in all those traditional things you're told to do. So we kind of stripped it all back and said, right, well, we don't need any of this. Let's try and create a model which works for us on our terms and actually embrace the things which are happening around us. So that's when we kind of said, right, Spotify at that point, you know, a few years ago, was sort of seen as the artist's enemy. You know, no one's making any money out of Spotify. It's all, you know, it's a bad thing. And we said, well, we're not making any money out of radio. We're not making any money out of traditional sales. So what have we got to lose? And if we can build up a following on there, then you know every stream is paying us something. That's better than nothing. So that's what we did. And I think at that point we stripped away, say, all the PR and the radio plugging. We also really stopped playing gigs. And that focus, I think, really helped. So we said, but every time we promote music online, the way you listen to it is on Spotify. We're not going to use any other method. I think the role of management to me was about trying to find the management role which worked for this band, rather than accepting that the things you do are try and get press, try and get radio, because actually for most unsigned bands, you're not going to get on radio, you're not going to get press. So make it work for you and what you're trying to do was kind of all, you know, what was it all about really, and it has worked. Every day I'm getting sent music by musicians and artists, and there's too much. You know, it's a great problem to have, don't get me wrong, but when you're looking for your inbox, trying to decide who you're going to write about, you're looking for that headline. You know, what is it which is interesting about that artist? And I think, you know, there's kind of levels of engagement. You get the email which says nothing but here's my new song, to here's an incredible story about an incredible artist doing something really interesting and kind of dynamic, and then the bit in between is the kind of traditional press release which just says band releases new song and here's, you know, a few quotes from a few people who say it's good. Now that still holds weight and sway, but to me that's not enough. There is no story in artist release record. With the Daydream Club, I actually saw them playing a gig live, and I was watching them. They've got a song called The Record Shop, and as I was watching them perform, I just had an idea. I was like, we could do something with that song. So my approach to them was very simply, you know, I love your music, I love hearing about you. Have you released that song? What have you done with that song? And they said, we've never released it. It was part of an album, but there was never a single release. So the first approach, the first idea was to try and make that song the official song of Record Store Day. It's called The Record Shop. It's all about record shops and independent records. So I was like, this is perfect. Now, realistically, we were never going to be the official Summer Record Store Day. I think Blur got it that year. So, you know, unsigned band from Leicester versus Blur, never going to work, right? But the story of that ambition was a bit what was exciting, right? So we went to all the independent record stores left in the UK and said, you know, unsigned bands are trying to do this, will you support this campaign? So we got photos of all those independent record stores, which we used on the front cover of this vinyl. By doing that, we secured distribution in a few of those stores. And we went to the press with this story, we got local media support, so we got some press off the back of it, which again they never would have got without that story. We got some radio play off the back of it, and I think on Record Store Day itself, it ended up playing a couple of shows as well in record store. So really, it doesn't have to be about what you achieve; it's about your ambition to get there. And I think having that personalised story and giving fans a sense that they are invested in your success and your growth is fundamental, really. And I think if you can mobilise those people to care and feel like they have got a stake in your music and feel like they are contributing to your success, whether that's creating playlists or, you know, sharing your videos online, really does make a difference, you know. I've got this thought in my head which I haven't quite worked out, but this idea of the breweries, so using the analogy of the brewery. So if you think about going into a pub 5-10 years ago, you went up to that pump and you saw 4 beers on the pump, and now you go into a pub and all the microbreweries are there, right? And some of them are owned by the big breweries still, but you might have a choice of 20 different, 30 different beers. And I think, to me, that's hopefully where the music industry goes. So the music equivalent is you turn on Radio 1 or you turn on MTV Music Awards, and you kind of believe there's only 5 artists in the world, because those 5 artists will win every award. What I'd love to see is this idea of a kind of a micro distribution through music. So to me, the music industry, the model of it is kind of broken, because they're kind of forced to do, you know, we can only promote 4 at a time because that's the only way we're going to get enough scale. But that's not what people want anymore. Well, I think what we've kind of shown with the Daydream Club is that we set out to say we can make it sustainable for an artist to work in music. You know, when we had that kind of epiphany moment, we said this isn't working for us, we sort of changed it into a way that did work for us, and now the band have actually got an income from music which allows them to carry on making music. And actually for an unsigned artist, that's all they really wanted to do, was to say we want to have a comfortable life and be able to make music. If we can do that, we've succeeded. You know, and they got to a point where they were, you know, getting a kind of 1 million streams a month on Spotify and outperforming all the major label priority artists, and that's success for them. It's like, you know, anything else is absolutely, you know, a bonus on top. So to me, the thing now is say, well, we've done it once with one artist. How do we repeat that success? How do we repeat that model with new artists, and actually show artists that there is an alternative to blowing £1,000 on a PR person a month, or blowing, you know, £1,000 on a radio plugger to release a single, not to get it on radio, and say, actually think about what you're doing and how does it work for you. The hope from Right Chord Music is just challenging conventions, trying to recreate a model which works efficiently and effectively for more artists more of the time, I guess. Show them all your